Well, cool, man. Well, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into Live at Midnight Tea and your world of music. And
Yeah, yeah.
and and before we do that, I want to start with something we're probably all getting tired of, which is COVID. But how did you survive that time period, and how did it influence the way that you do things now?
Oh man, it's a heavy question.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, it's kind of crazy. So I would say, I don't know, I started playing piano seriously maybe like 2014, 2015. And that was like 5 years in the shed, 2015 to 2020. I played here and there, maybe like 20 shows a year, something like that. Now it's probably up to like 150 or something. But so that was like 5 years, 2015, 2020. 2020 happened, and I was like, okay, I've been in the shed for 5 or 6 years. It's like January 2020. I've been driving myself crazy. It's time to get out and play, you know. And then March 2020 happened, and sorry, the heater turned off, so hopefully it doesn't come back on. I don't know if that was too loud.
No,
But
no,
anyway,
you're good.
March 2020 happened, COVID. So then I actually didn't touch the piano for like a year straight, basically. I would like sit down for like 20 minutes, maybe once a month, and just play the blues or whatever I felt like playing.
Yeah.
Um, and it helped actually. So yeah, I barely touched it. I would sit down and just improvise. And I had always been improvising, but that kind of led into doing it more, kind of became a ritual. Um, but other than that, I don't know what I did. I didn't play piano. I was like working at restaurants before that, like in the evenings, and doing a little bit of Uber, so I couldn't do either of those. I couldn't, there's no gigs anymore. So yeah, I was mostly hunkered down. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
no,
guess.
that's good. So, the one thing that we're missing during that time is live music. How much of living through that influenced this new live album? And just kind of talk to me a little bit about the album.
Yeah, so like I said, I took that year off from like really being in the shed. I would say like March 2020 to at least like December 2020. I would come and play just kind of what I felt because before that I was playing, I don't know, probably 8-ish hours a day or something like that. It was kind of like 9 to 5. I would practice or whatever I was doing, and then I would go work in the evening. Um, like 5 to 10 or whatever, do a shift. Um, so yeah, 2020, it kind of freed me up mentally, I guess, to kind of just approach it from where I was, the piano, just come and play. Um, and so I started doing that habitually. It became a ritual to like engage my heart with the piano.
Yeah.
When I first touch it, for the first time of the day, even to now, whenever I touch it for the first time, I just play completely freely. And yeah, I started doing that basically every day. And for a while, I was just doing it for myself, as a, exercise for the spirit, for my heart. Um, and then after a while, I was like, oh, this sounds good. I should record this. Um, so I did that, and I did that for like I don't know, a couple months. And that was probably just after COVID, like 2021-ish maybe. And I actually released an improvised album, Volume One, last May, maybe. And I pressed like 50 physicals, vinyls. And that's just all improvisations. So that's become like a really big, I don't know, I call it maybe like a practice, kind of like the way someone practices yoga or something like that. Um, it's a practice for my spirit, for my inspiration, all that stuff. Um, so that was kind of the first step. I did that album. I actually have volume two that's done and recorded, hopefully coming soon. But this Midnight Tea recording, that's actually where I had the release show. It's at my friend's studio in the Fine Arts Building downtown Chicago, right on Michigan Avenue, right across from Grant Park. It's a beautiful building. But my friends Rami and Caleb have a studio. They call it Midnight Tea, and I had a release show there for the volume one, and I just improvised. I was kind of challenging myself. It was kind of almost like a, I'm sure you're familiar with Keith Jarrett, the
Yeah.
Cone concert.
Yeah.
And it just, well, the Cone concert was a start, but all of that for the last 40 years or whatever. He just sits down and plays for an hour straight. So I kind of challenged myself to do that. And I played for about 45 or 50 minutes straight, I would say. Um, and that's actually separate. I didn't record it, unfortunately. But my brother, who is a cinematographer in LA, um, he was in town. It was like Thanksgiving. Actually, it was basically about a year ago, November 2023. He was shooting a Harley Davidson commercial here in Chicago with his friend. So he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be in town. My friend Cody, who I've known forever, grew up with, he's going to be here. He can help me shoot. Let's shoot something." Um, and so that was kind of the impetus. I was like, "Okay, cool. I just did this release show where I improvised for 40 minutes at Midnight Tea. Let's do something there." And I'll just improvise again. And you can film it. And that was kind of the start. So it's kind of just started as a video series, I guess. I don't know, four videos. And it sounded really good, I thought. Um, so I was like, yeah, we should just release this as an album. So that
Yeah.
was kind of a long-winded
No, that's
explanation.
good. That's good. So, how did this journey into the music and more specifically jazz begin for you?
Um, that's another good question. Um, I guess we can jump all the way back to the beginning, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, I was probably six-ish, maybe, and I started taking piano lessons. Um, my mom had played piano when she was growing up. She took lessons. She still does, and she kind of made us. When you're 6 years old, she was like, "Hey, you guys got to take piano lessons." So from like six to like nine-ish, or maybe 10, I took like formal lessons with a teacher. And then I was kind of too cool for school. I was 10 years old. She gave me the option. I was like, no, I don't want to play piano anymore. So I actually played guitar for a long time, maybe like 10 years or more, probably from when I was like 14, 12 or 14 to my early 20s. I didn't really take it that seriously. I was kind of, I was in high school and middle school. But I will say that was kind of like the start of playing jazz. My good friend Tom Kelleher, who is now a physician, but also still a great guitar player, also played guitar. And he was taking lessons in high school from like a DePaul teacher. I forget his name. But he would kind of show me some chords on guitar, and I had no idea what was going on. But I would play like Autumn Leaves. I would just kind of comp for him, and he would solo, and then he would teach me some stuff about soloing or whatever. Um, but the time when I took it really seriously is after I graduated college. I actually did engineering in college, but I don't know. I just didn't want to do it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And I was also I've always listened to a lot of music since I can remember. I don't know. Um, I had like the first generation of iPod. I remember that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I would go to the library and get CDs and put it on there. And so I probably started listening to jazz probably when my friend Tom was showing me those chords, like Autumn Leaves and stuff. I went to the library. I remember I got like Kind of Blue and a Love Supreme and things like that. Shout out to the public libraries, man. Those are
Yeah.
gem, underrated gem. But yeah, I would just go get CDs, and then I guess it was kind of a bit of an acquired taste as I got older. Um, I started listening to more. I think what really captured my um, ear for the piano and really touched my heart was Bill Evans. Um, Wynton Kelly was a really big one early on with Miles Davis and all that stuff. Um, yeah, there was an old, I don't know if you're familiar with Austin Peralta,
Yeah.
but he's son of famed skateboarder Stacy Peralta. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. Actually, I think we would be about the same age, but he passed away about 10 years ago. But I was listening to him a lot because he was playing with people like Flying Lotus and Thundercat, and that really kind of caught me. It was kind of more future looking, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I started listening a lot of that stuff, maybe like in college. Um, and then when I graduated, um, yeah, actually, I applied to med school, and I was like, either I'm going to go to med school and commit my energy there, or I'm going to commit all of that time and energy to playing the piano.
Yeah.
Here now, playing the piano. So,
So, what was the first live jazz show you saw that blew you away?
the first live jazz show. Um, that's a good question. Um, I feel like I was kind of late to that. I feel like I didn't start checking that out until I started really playing a lot. I think the few that blew me away, and this is kind of, what inspires me to improvise as much as I do, is Mackay McCraven. If you're familiar, the drummer,
Yeah.
he's from Chicago, which is one of the big reasons. But I remember seeing him, he had a residency here at the Hideout, which is kind of a historic venue here. Um, and it was like a month. He would do it every week, and then he would have different people and they would improvise. Um, this is probably 2017-ish, maybe. I don't know. But that was really cool. That whole month, I don't know if I went to all of them, but I probably went to two or three of them. But he had people like Rob Clearfield, who's a pianist, Chicago guy. I don't think he's around here anymore. I think he moved. Yeah, lots of Chicago people. Junius Paul, bass player, Corey Wilkes, trumpet player. He had Jeff Parker on one, which is crazy. Um, and yeah, seeing that in that kind of local ecosystem, that environment, you know what I mean, really kind of blew me away. And the playing, obviously. And lastly, the extent of improvisation, which still because they would just play completely freely too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what he does is play freely and then record it and then kind of produce it later, like cut it up and mash it up and all that good stuff. And there's also another thing is that it's also very future looking too, which was great to hear because sometimes some rooms can be a little stifling. Um, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, what do you like the best about being a professional musician? What gets you up every day? What motivates you?
Um, Another great question. Um, to be honest, just music, just playing. And a lot of what that means for me personally, um, is connecting with other people, in a real deep, genuine, true way. Um, and musicians in particular, the people you're playing with, especially when you're playing the type of music I'm playing, like improvising and really listening and being present, responding, that kind of thing. Um, just playing with those people, who some of them I've only had the pleasure of knowing for a couple of years, but it feels like I've known them my whole life. Some of
Yeah.
those people you just get in the groove with and you're locked in. It's crazy. But beyond that, even beyond the musicians themselves, just people too, you're at shows. I can't really think of a time. I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty, but for me personally, I can't really think of a gig or a show where people are like upset or angry or, um, you know, aggressive or anything like that. I
Yeah.
think music is a truly healing force. So in that sense, yeah, I guess that's basically it.
So let's get to the heart and soul of who you are. At the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh man, these are heavy hitting questions. I like it. Um, who do I think I am? I think my honest answer would be I don't think too much about it, or I try not to think too much about it. Um, you mean just relative to my life in general or music
Yeah,
or
I think
everything?
everyone has this idea of who you play a function in everybody's life as a
Mm,
performer, as
mm,
as a friend, as a family member, all of these myriad of ways that people see you. But ultimately, you're the driving force. So I think just in general, what light do you see yourself in?
mm. Um, yeah, like I said, I try not to think about it too much. I think if I thought about it too much, I'd probably drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say that I try my best to be a force of good and of positivity. Um, I see my mission almost as one a mission, I guess, purpose maybe, I don't know, as a um as someone who can hopefully provide some healing and positivity to other people. I think that's kind of how I would perceive myself is um, those around me and those outside of myself who I can help, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally does. So if anyone wants to pick up a copy of Live at Midnight Tea, catch you live, any of the news or anything that's going on in your world, where's the best place for them to go?
Best place to go. I have a website. It's ertalert.com, ERTALERT. All the music, there's like a music tab. You can go there and check everything out. Um, Instagram's always good. It's Pat Leary. I think my handle is ERTKit though, ERTKIT. You can go to the link there and check out all the music. Spotify. Um, there's no physical copies yet, but maybe in the future.
Okay.
I am looking to press some physical copies of, I thought I was telling you about Volume 1,
Yeah.
this all improvised album. Volume 2, the first one was only about 50. The second one, hopefully, I can do about 200 or 300. So hang tight for that. But I will say, if you would like to see my brother's beautiful cinematography along with the music, and also his friend Cody Madsen, um, you can check me out on YouTube. It's Pat Leary. And the first one is up. One. It's a series of four improvisations in Midnight Tea, which I kind of thought of as like a suite. I kind of thought of as one larger piece. So yeah, one is up there. Two, the next one is Blue and Green, which should be coming out in about a month, and then the full thing will be up in a couple months.
Perfect. Pat, this has been
Yeah,
great. Thank you so much. Thank you
yeah,
for taking time out. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with the release.
yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate the call.